When you've just finished an amazing game, sometimes you want to go back and experience it all over again. It's only natural. So that's why some games provide incentives for the same, whether it's New Game Plus and content tied exclusively to it, alternative routes, true endings, or being able to replay previous cleared missions. Let's take a look at titles that become even better when it's your second playthrough. Bastion. Bastion offers New Game Plus, which is fairly straightforward. Any spirits that you've unlocked will carry over along with all weapons, levels, fragments, and upgrades. Some vigils, along with Proving Grounds completion, are lost, but you can start out with a lot of your previous progress intact. It's the story that's most intriguing. If you choose the restoration ending in your first playthrough, the narrator Rux will have moments of deja vu, like all of this has happened before. You also gain access to the Stranger's Dream, a level with waves of foes, which also provides more details on Rux and the world of Caledonia before the Calamity. Nier Automata. Though somewhat akin to New Game Plus, since your unlocked weapons and upgrades carry over, Nier Automata's additional routes are basically the rest of the game. You play as 9S, experiencing many of the same events from Route A, but with new abilities and additional story beats. Route C continues the story in earnest, alternating between A2 and 9S, culminating in different endings for both. There's a lot to unpack in terms of new content, with even the familiar areas seeing structural changes, new quests, and new enemies to fight. Elden Ring. Much like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, a second playthrough in Elden Ring via New Game Plus provides the opportunity to try new builds and fight tougher enemies. It's just on a much bigger scale and a wide array of weapons and skills to experiment with. Nioh 2. Nioh 2 categorizes New Game Plus into different dreams, starting with Dream of the Samurai and going all the way up to New Game Plus 5, or Dream of the Neo. Each New Game Plus cycle adds new mechanics into the existing story and side missions like scrolls for additional stats, stones of penance for increasing the rarity of accessories, cursed enemies, and even end-game activities like the Underworld. There is a lot to experience, and that's before you even dive into the DLC. The Legend of Zelda. Thanks to only half of the game's overall memory being used for the base adventure, The Legend of Zelda managed to have a second quest. This could be accessed by inputting the player name as Zelda after finishing the game once. Along with changing the locations of dungeons, heart containers, and shops, it also upped the difficulty. Ever wanted to fight a Stalfos that could fire sword beams? The second quest has you covered. CROSSCODE. CrossCode's New Game Plus is more than just the option to carry over one's level, equipment, credits, and so on from a previous playthrough. It's actually fully customizable, allowing you to make the game much easier or harder on the second run. Double or quadruple EXP and credits, or disable them entirely, up the drop rate of items, or enable combat modifiers like dying to a single hit, dealing absurd amounts of damage, more invincibility frames while dashing but only having one dash instead of 3, and much more. Even more hilarious is how characters will comment on Leah's overwhelming power, with her expression taking on some smugness here and there. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Spike Chunsoft's visual novel adventure game involves 9 individuals trapped on a sinking ship who must solve various puzzles to escape. Over time, the player learns about experiments that took place on the ship. More often than not, there's a bad ending in store. In true visual novel fashion, you can start a new playthrough and attempt to get a better ending. But these aren't, quote, new routes per se. Your decisions from the previous branches are actually the key to surviving and getting the true ending. We won't detail everything, but suffice to say that it's one of the better uses of New Game Plus for storytelling. OXENFREE. Another game that masterfully utilizes New Game Plus for its narrative is OXENFREE. Completing the story for the first time can yield a variety of different endings, with some characters being saved and others sacrificed. But even if you get off the island, time is actually looping, so by starting a new Game Plus playthrough, it's possible to send a message to the protagonist, Alex, in the past before she gets on the ferry to the island. With subtle differences and a new ending, there's good enough reason to go back and see everything through once more. Borderlands 2. In terms of an endgame, Borderlands 2 consists of playing through the campaign and its DLC, tackling raid bosses and farming the raid on District Peak. It offers true and ultimate hunter modes, which are essentially new Game Plus modes. All of your loot and levels carry over, and there are tougher enemies, better loot, and increased level caps to grind out. There are also 10 overpower or OP levels to grind, which sees enemies become even tougher and the loot scaling even higher. All in all, if you couldn't get enough of Borderlands 2, this is a great way to experience it again and again. No Man's Sky. In No Man's Sky, reaching the center of the galaxy provides two choices. You can either continue to explore or travel to a new one. You'll then start over with all of your gear, though it all needs to be repaired. Now, what makes this interesting is that there are 255 unique galaxies in the game, each with different classifications, some harsher and others lusher, that can be chosen at will. While initially mocked on release, the addition of more story content, choices like the Outlaw Path, different activities, and improved variety of your planets makes exploring each new galaxy more worthwhile. Resident Evil 2. Both the original and remake of Resident Evil 2 offered some interesting reasons to replay the game. Basically, whenever choosing Leon or Claire, you'll play through the character's A route. Beating it unlocks the B route for the other character, so clearing the game with Leon A unlocks Claire B, while clearing Claire A unlocks Leon B. What makes this so cool is that you're exploring an alternate perspective in the B routes while accessing new areas, encountering Mr. X in the new places, and even accessing items that weren't picked up in Route A. Of course, completing the B route for either character also unlocks the true ending and conclusion. You'll also get a separate route called Fourth Survivor with Hunk, and while short, it's still a lot of fun. Resident Evil Village. Given its brisk pacing, Resident Evil Village offers a fairly straightforward action-packed experience on one's first playthrough. But that's not the end by a long shot. The extra content shop becomes available, allowing you to spend accumulated completion points on a variety of things like unlocking the mercenaries. The main appeal is the weapon selection. You can get powerful weapons like the WCX, Dragoon, Hand Cannon PZ, and much more. You can also unlock infinite ammo for various weapons, making the higher difficulties like Village of Shadows a cakewalk. Persona 5 Royal. The way that the Persona games are built makes it impossible to experience everything in your first run. New Game Plus comes in handy here because your social stats carry over, thus letting you spend more time building social links and partaking in other activities. The Persona Compendium, which allows for resummoning any unlocked persona as long as you have the cash and levels. Skill cards and presents from the end of the game also carry over with money, equipment, memento stamps, and much more. In terms of new content, there's a bonus boss battle against Caroline and Justine, a bonus fight against Lavenza, and the ability to create Joker's ultimate persona. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. While it doesn't offer New Game Plus, you can replay any story mission in Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain and use all of your upgrades and unlocked equipment. This opens up a wider range of possibilities, and along with making it easier to earn an S rank, you can also farm GMP, even if the amount reduces with each retry until it hits 0. Combined with the revenge system, which sees enemies adapting to your tactics by using body armor, night vision goggles, and whatnot, it added some great variety to familiar missions. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below, and if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.